Welcome, 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 welcome. Come on in and enjoy another episode of the Tapping into Life podcast. It is so good to see each and every one of you. It is so good to know that each and every one of you are still choosing to find out who you truly are. It is so good to know that each and every one of you are still tapping in to the life that God spoke into you from day one. My name is Matthew B. I am your life coach. And like I said, welcome. Grab your snack, get comfortable, grab your drink, grab your dinner. Grab your cup of coffee, your glass of wine. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Have a seat, get comfortable, and enjoy season 2, another episode of the Tapping into Life podcast. Happy Friday Eve, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow ends another work week. And I know that some of you all have had a very, 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 very long work week. I know I've had a very long work week. All right. I hope each and every one of you have fared well through the work week. I hope each and every one of you have embraced the happiness. I hope each and every one of you have told that negativity to be gone from me. Welcome. Come on in, y'all. Come on in, come on in, come on in. And enjoy another episode. We're going to get right into the topic at hand. But before that, I hope that each and every one of you enjoyed the previous episode that we gave you. Okay, I hope that each and every one of you fall, the harvest, your way of thinking. It's time to change up that way of thinking, not to prove a point, but to really, really allow yourself to receive a more clear image of you, not me, not your loved ones, but you. All right? Tapping into Life is a platform that gives the tools and the knowledge to each and every one of you so that each and every one of you can acknowledge, hold yourselves accountable, and do the work. All right? Now, I understand some of you don't like 2 out of 3, but in order to tap into the true you, in order to maneuver through that true you, you have to acknowledge, you have to hold yourselves accountable, and you have to put in the work. All right? All right? Because a lot of us, we don't like putting in that work. A lot of us don't like holding ourselves accountable. We tense up and freeze at the very thought of a fraction of thinking about holding ourselves accountable and putting in the work. But you know what? That's the only way we're going to grow. That's the only way we're going to succeed. That's the only way we're going to be prosperous. That's the only way we're going to be happy. That's the only way we're going to feel love. That's the only way that we're going to know what kindness is. That's the only way that we're going to be disciplined in patience. Welcome. All right. So let's get into it. So when we did last week's episode, one of the things that I touched on was identifying what's beneficial and detrimental in your lives as it pertains to you, the individual. right? And so what I I was thinking about the episode because I had to go and look back at the episode, and I'm gonna tell you, I mean, it was very powerful. It was very powerful. And but one of the things I wanted to do, I wanted to really go into depth about the beneficial and the detrimental. Because some things that we find beneficial are detrimental, and some things that we find detrimental are beneficial. So what I, ask you all to do, and it's not homework. It's not homework, it's soul work, it's spirit work, it's putting in the work, right? To write down what you find beneficial and what you find detrimental as it pertains to you, the individual. Okay? Now, if you didn't do it, you didn't do it, right? But at the end of the day, you have to hold yourselves accountable. Because this is you we're talking about. This is your growth and your well being and your sanity, right? And if you did do it, that means you're putting in the work. And you will find that putting in the work really has its benefits, right? So when we think about what's beneficial and detrimental, and we have our list about what's beneficial and detrimental, all right? To be beneficial is to find what is favorable, resulting in good, right? Favorable or advantageous, resulting in good. That's the definition of beneficial. All right. Now, if that's the definition of beneficial, we all know what detrimental means. Detrimental means the total opposite, right? Detrimental means something that hinders the result of good, pauses or stops the result of good. Something that we possess can either be beneficial or detrimental. But in order to know what's beneficial or detrimental in our lives, we first have to know what we possess. All right? Are y'all following me? All right? Are we still here? So we have to know that. We have to know that. Right? I hope everything's good. Okay. So something or someone that will help, has helped, or is helping you identify goodness, and in order to accomplish the goal of producing good is what we would call beneficial. What do I have around me, in my atmosphere, in me, that I could utilize to produce good? Plain that's all it is. All right? Something or someone that is hindering me, distracting me from producing good. Some entity, some existence, something that I possess that stops me from producing good. It's not beneficial, but it is what? Detrimental. All right. So we're gonna really go in today, and we're gonna just decipher the two. We're gonna decipher the two. And some may say, okay, well, all you gotta do is look it up. Well, if you want to know vocabulary words, you would look it up. But if you want to know how it pertains to you, the individual, then we have to understand the spiritual concept of it. Right? So what this one allows to exist that may be beneficial to you, the individual. So on our list, we got items, right? We have family, we have marriage, we have relationships, we have friendships, we have jobs and careers, we have a home, we have finances. What do we have in our lives that exist? All right. We have boyfriends, we have girlfriends, we have siblings, we have a part-time job, we have a full-time job, we have all these things that we allow to exist in our lives. All right. Now, the interesting part of it is, if we look at what's detrimental, some people have some of these things as being detrimental to their well-being. So one would ask, okay, well, if I got all of these things that are beneficial to me, and you got some of the same things I got beneficial, you put them as detrimental, then okay, now I'm even more confused of how what's beneficial to some can be detrimental to others. Here's what I want y'all to do, right? I want you all to take that list and I want you to ball it up and I want you to throw it away. I want you to ball it up. If it's in your notebook, rip it out your notebook. I want you to destroy that list of what's beneficial and detrimental. And I know y'all gonna come at me. Why in the world would you tell us to do something, and at the end of the day, you're also now telling us to destroy the assignment that we were supposed to do? Because part of going through the process is putting in the work. Part of putting in the work is finding out that your perception on things may not be what actually is. Okay, so let's do this. Because at the end of the day, okay, let me stay in order. All right, I'm about to go there, and before we go there, I gotta lay it down for you. All right, your job is not beneficial to you. Your career is not beneficial to you. Your home is not beneficial to you. Your marriage, your friendships, your family, those things are not beneficial to you as it pertains to you, the individual, and your spiritual growth and your acknowledging of a life that God's spoken to you on day one. Hear me out. It's not beneficial or detrimental the way you think it is. Because one would think, if I have family, that it will prevent me from depressed, it will prevent me from being sad. If I had a significant other, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a husband, or wife, it will prevent me from being lonely. It would show me how to love. You know, if I had finances, then I would be happy. You know what that's doing? That's replacing God with whatever you think that you can get out of what's beneficial. In order for the existence of a job, the existence of family, the existence of marriage and home and finances to be beneficial as it pertains to you, one must first understand that he or she has to acknowledge what he or she possess inside of them. What is their spirit feeding off of? There are 9 fruits that your spirit can feed off of to be a spirit that then imparts beneficial in what exists. So, your home is not what you possess. Your home is a channel that what you can possess can begin to manifest things. So let me go into deeper detail. Let me break it down for you, okay? So if you have a home and you in that home, there is nothing but love in that home. When you walk through that door, baby, that love hugs you like your grandmother hugs you. That home loves on you like your spouse or your kids or your family member loves on you. That home makes you feel warm. Why does that home do it? Why does that home? Why do you feel you feel these things? Here's why. Because you, the individual, possess the fruit inside of your spirit. Your spirit feeds off the fruit. So now it's inside of your spirit. Your spirit, hear me out. Your spirit begins to then impart what it possesses, what it feeds off of, whatever it's inside of it, it then imparts into what exists in your life. So if you feed off of love, if your spirit eats that love, now it's inside of your spirit. Your spirit would then in return impart, it will then impart love in your home. It would then impart love in the relationship that you have with your family. It will then impart love in your career. If your spirit feeds off the fruit of patience, your spirit then imparts patience into the marriage. It imparts patience into getting the finances together. Right? So whatever your spirit feeds off of is now going to. All right. Make sure we get together here. Make sure my connection is good because let me see. All right. Trying into oh, you know the enemy be trying, but we gonna get it together. All right. Okay. All right. So do we understand whatever we possess inside of us, whatever our spirit possesses inside of it, manifests or projects itself in what we have in our lives? Do we understand what we have in our lives does not benefit us, but it is nothing but a channel or a dwelling that what we possess can manifest into the physical world? So somebody can say, you know what? Oh, they ain't got but love in their family. Why? Because each and every individual in that family possess love in their spirit. And how does those spirits possess that love? It's because of what they eat. They eat the love. They eat the knowledge. They eat the discipline and patience. They eat the understanding. They eat the joy and the kindness. They eat these 9 fruits that we seem to overlook if it requires us to put in the work. That's that W word again. Y'all gonna get sick of me saying work, but you would thank me later. All right. What you possess inside of you will determine how what exists in your lives are utilized as it pertains to you and the fruit that you produce, which or whatever it's manifested, right? So if one eats the fruit of love, its spirit then is possessed by love. When its spirit is possessed by love, then it projects the fruit of love inside of what exists as it pertains to the individual. When it imparts or projects what it possesses inside of what exists, then what exists in returns manifests or produces what the spirit already possessed. So what are you saying, Matthew? I'm saying that if you want people to look at you and say, this person has a lot of joy in him, this person has a lot of joy in her, then you must first possess the joy. One cannot see what is in someone without it first being possessed inside of one's spirit. You cannot see love in me, love in me. I'm channeling what I eat into what I allow to exist in my life. And if I want what exists in my life to then reflect what I possess, I must first possess what I want what exists in my life to reflect. So if you want people to see that you have patience, you must first have patience inside of you. Your spirit has to eat the fruit of patience. What is the scripture that we all like to quote, but we don't want to walk the walk? We like to talk the talk. We want to walk the walk. What is that scripture? The power of the tongue speaks life and death. And whoever believes in its fruit shall partake in its power. Or in some versions of the Bible, whoever loves its fruit shall partake in its whoever loves its power, shall partake in its fruit. So if you speak love, then you eat the fruit of love. If you speak patience, you eat the fruit of patience. If you speak joy, you eat the fruit of joy. Whatever you eat then manifests itself in whatever it is that exists in your life as it pertains to you. Now, that is like if I eat my proteins, my chicken and my fish, if I eat my proteins, if I eat my vitamins, if I eat, my vitamin C, my vitamin B, my vitamin K, my vitamin A, my vitamin B, my zinc, all my minerals and my nutrients, then you would know that I possess these things inside of my body because of my strength and my healthiness. And I rarely ever get sick, and my skin and my hair. Don't crack jokes. But anyway, but you would begin to see in someone's flesh what they may have inside of them, what they may eat, right? But if you get someone that does all that sugar and greasy fried foods and stuff like whatever the physical result of that is, you will begin to see those physical results. It's the same thing in the spiritual realm as it is in the earthly realm. Your body, your physical body, is also one thing that you allow to exist. And it's also one thing that if your spirit possesses something, if your flesh possesses something, then on the outside it would show. If your spirit possesses something, then your flesh would also manifest the love, the kindness, the patience. Right? Now, this all requires putting in the work. You would find that the 9 fruits of the Holy Spirit as it pertains to you, the individual, is required. It's required every religion, if you do your research, every belief, every walk of faith say to get the reward of whatever it is I'm trying to get, whatever reward I'm trying to get, I must possess 9 fruit. My spirit must partake in eating of the 9 spiritual fruits that are good in order for me to then project in the earthly realm what is exactly required to receive the good reward. Are we still here? So that requires me to put in the work. Yep. Faith without works is dead. How can we sit here as humans and quote a scripture, but refuse to apply all of the scripture? Now, that we're not going to go down that road today. We're not going to go down that road today. All right? Y'all don't push me to go down that road. All right? I got to be in discipline and in order, because I got another episode after this next week that connects the first 2 episodes. Well, this episode and the last episode, it connects all together. All right. So I gotta be in order on how I do things, but y'all see y'all pushing me. All right. So let me flip the page, because I like to write down my podcast. I'm just saying, I don't have writers. because I believe that God has blessed me with the ability to write. Anyway, so what one possesses dictates the structure of what exists. What exists in one's life channels a manifestation, good and bad, based on what one possesses inside of that spirit, or what the fruit is, or another word for the fruit as it pertains to, what's the word? Translated into the earthly realm, the character traits that exist. All right. So another question one may ask, what happens if what exists never produced or stopped producing the manifestation of good? First of all, why would we even allow something to exist in our lives if it's not producing the beneficial? We want love, but what exists not producing love? That's something that you all need to ask yourselves. I was in this relationship. This relationship has been hell on wheels for the past 5 years. We've been together 6 years. So there was only one good year out of it. Why am I still in this relationship? I'm going to tell you why, because it's what you possess inside of you. We don't always possess good in us. There's some of us that possess some things that are detrimental to us. There are some people that we possess some things that are hindrance to our journey, and will pause the progression and the growth inside of us. Right? When what exists stop producing the manifestation of good, or never manifested good from a spiritual standpoint, then it's what exists that has been compromised. So if you're in a relationship for 6 years and 5 of those years are bad, you might need to look at that first year, because somewhere down the line, the two parties involved in that relationship did not fully acknowledge what they possessed inside the individual spirits. Because a strong relationship just not going to go weak out of nowhere. You know, when you get these relationships like, oh, well, it was good, but we just grew apart. We just drifted apart. No, there were some things that were detrimental between both parties on the inside of each individual that he or she, they did not acknowledge. And it cost them the relationship. That's something to think about. So at this moment, one needs to assess what is being possessed within the individual spirit or spirits. Your spirit. That spirit God's spoken to you. Your life. All right? You, the individual. You know, a lot of us are like, well, he did this or she did that. No, you need to hold yourself accountable about what you did. What did you do? Or what did you lack of putting in the effort into doing? What did you ignore? What did you allow that was detrimental to fester up? You know, to just fester like an infection. What did you allow inside of you? Right? We need to constantly be knowledgeable of the food that we eat spiritually. Because like I said before, some of us ain't eating the proper fruit that we need to eat. Some of us are eating that fruit of hate. Some of us are eating that fruit of jealousy. Some of us are eating that fruit of greed. Some of us are eating that fruit of being nosy. Some of us are eating that fruit of judgment. Some of us are eating that fruit of being impatient. And you know what we do? We take all of those bad fruits that we eating and we just put that iniquity sauce all on top of it and we eat it. And we wonder why things happen the way they happen in our lives as it pertains to us. Y'all ever stop to think about that? There are some things that are allowed that are unfortunate that life wants us to acknowledge. And we acknowledge that it's not the best. We acknowledge that it's detrimental. We acknowledge that it's bad. What do you want me to get out of this? What I want you to get out of this is what you possess may not be what you need to be possessing. Because if you go walk around here all jealous and stuff, then you don't need to be possessing jealousy. If you're out here being greedy, you don't need to be possessing greed. You are what you eat from a spiritual standpoint. So if you eat hate, then you're going to be hateful. It's going to show up inside of your spirit. If you're loving, then it's going to produce loving. If you're patient, it's going to produce patience. You know? When what is beneficial stops producing or never produced good, then it is now deemed detrimental or producing a harmful or negative effect on. And I think we've already put two and two together with that. We've already done that. So before we move on, let's bring it all in. Let's get to a point where we bring it all in. And what we have to realize is that the things that we feel benefits us have no power in what is being produced. Your marriage does not benefit you. It's what you put into your marriage that benefits you. Your family does not benefit you. It's what you put into your family that benefits you. Your job does not benefit you. It's what you put in your job benefits you. Whatever you have in you, the moment that you allow it to be present in your life, you begin to impart. You begin to spill out. You begin to pour in whatever it is that's in your spirit. And I'm going to take it onto another level, okay? Because I write the notes, but I'm going to take it to another level, and I feel that I need to do this because some of us are on some spiritual journeys, right? Well, all of us should be on a spiritual journey, but we're on these spiritual journeys, and some of us we follow certain beliefs, as far as praying and fasting, and meditating and speaking things into the atmosphere and walking about what we have spoken as if though it has already been given to us, if the prayer has already been answered, right? Let me say this. What you possess is in your spirit. I mean, you have eaten whatever it is that your spirit has fed off of. Whatever your spirit has eaten, that's what is being projected, manifested inside of your spirit. That is now in your spiritual DNA. Some of us have to begin to start changing our spiritual DNA. All right. And it's not only what we eat. It's not only just the fruit. Some of our spirit has eaten or have breathed in hurt, generational curses, right? Some of our spirits have been, we've been given toxic behavior from family and in relationships. And it is now in our atmosphere, and we're breathing in what's in our atmosphere. All right? I'm going to take it another level. What you may think is love, and you eat love because that love is a fruit that you have eaten, may have been compromised by what your atmosphere now possess. So if your atmosphere, if the air that your spirit breathes is toxic, imagine what's in the fruit that you're eating. It's the same air. So some of that love fruit that we're eating, if it ain't right in the correct air, if it ain't right in the correct atmosphere, it becomes compromised. Okay, Matthew, now you're making things a little complex. Some of us have been in situations to where we have been hurt by other people, and we have allowed people to say things and do things, and they've spoken things into our atmosphere. And those things to our atmosphere has fallen into the fruit that we eat. Now we're eating it. Now it's in us. Now we think that we're going to begin to be that good spirit, but then we find bits and pieces of toxic behavior. Why is that? That's because we now have to go back in our spiritual DNA and identify or acknowledge what is not good. Are y'all staying with me here? Are y'all staying with me? It's one thing to eat the fruit and it creates your spiritual DNA. It's another thing that when someone allows another person to compromise their atmosphere, and the atmosphere now falls on the fruit in which is being eaten. So now you, the individual, got to go back and assess your spiritual DNA and find out and acknowledge what's not right, and we got to remove it. And when we remove it, we got to address it. That's part of putting in the work. Right? Now I'm gonna come back from the advanced level because that's part of next week's episode. Okay. All right. So we're gonna get back on track here. Now, when one produces the fruit, it is based off what was already in that person, right? So if, like I said, if you produce patience, that means patience was already in you. It may have needed some discipline, but patience was already in you. That fruit is part of your harvest. Your fruit and your harvest are the same thing. It's the same thing. Whatever you produce, you have to have in you. Yeah, it has to be possessed. What exists, family, career, friends, friendships, and all of that, what exists, it either is beneficial to your harvest or it's detrimental to your harvest based on what you possess. Now, if what you allow to exist in your life consists of more than one person or more than just you, and what you allow to exist now produces fruit that is not so good, then you need to assess your friends. You need to assess the relationships that you have with your family. You need to assess the relationship that you have with your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, your wife, your kids, your co-workers, your employer. Okay? Because if you're doing what you need to do, and those people aren't doing what they need to do, that also affects you because they're a part of what exists in your life as it pertains to you. So now you got to go. You might have to talk to some people. You might have to cut some people off. You have to assess your friends. That's why we hear, our mothers and our grandmothers, birds of a feather flock together. Surround yourself with like-minded people. Biblically, it has scriptures, paraphrasing, the same thing. You are the company that you keep. How am I the company that I keep? Because what you manifest, your harvest, shows a lot about you and the company that you keep. Well, I've been doing everything right. That was my friend. That was my this. That was this person. That was that person. It's still on you. You still need to hold yourself accountable because you begin to allow someone to do the total opposite of good. And you didn't say anything about it. You didn't address it. I don't care if that is your mama. I don't care if that is your daddy. If your mama and your daddy are imparting in what exists in you and compromising what exists in you, if they're compromising the fruit and what you produce, you need to have a conversation with your mama and your daddy, your brother, your sister, your grandma, your auntie, your uncle, your cousins, your friends, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. You need to have a conversation with them. Hey, what you got going on here? You might have to cut them off for a season. You might have to distance them, not cut them off, but distance yourself from them. And after, there's some situation that you might have to cut them off. Right? So I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna read this. Character traits or the fruit of the spirit that one possesses. If one has a marriage that is now becoming more detrimental than beneficial, then one must assess what he or she possesses that is contributing to the marriage. You have to know what you possess inside of you and what you are putting into what you are allowing to exist. That's basically what it's saying. Right? So what are you allowing to taint or compromise your marriage? Or what are you allowing to taint or compromise what you are allowing to exist in your life? Because everything that you allow to exist in your life shall be benefiting you. It shall help you produce good. It shall help you produce the harvest. Amen? Okay, moving on. So in this situation, both parties of any relationship must assess what they possess individually. So sometimes you got to go and tell that person, hey, there's some things that I'm seeing that ain't good, and it ain't benefiting us as a friendship. It ain't benefiting us as a marriage. It ain't benefiting us as, that co-worker relationship. And if both parties lack communication as it pertains to the particular relationship, two parties have to acknowledge what is good and or bad and what part each individual played in the relationship. That's called taking accountability. And a lot of us nowadays do not like to hold ourselves accountable. But you know what? It's either you voluntarily hold yourself accountable or you're going to be forced to hold yourself accountable. But either way, you're going to hold yourself accountable. Okay? I'm just like, that's what it is. Right? The lack of not hearing or not making an effort to understand or not communicating are also things that one possess inside of them. Sometimes what your spirit puts into what exists in your life does not necessarily pertains to the fruit, but also it pertains to the spiritual DNA. All right? So, in conclusion, if love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, self-control, making an effort to and or communicating is what is in your spiritual DNA or is what you are eating as far as spiritual food, then you're always going to produce good. Right? However, there is a however. Characteristics that are detrimental: hate, chaos, impatience, meanness, wickedness, hostility, inconsistence, a lack of discipline, lazy, procrastinating, no communicating, jealousy, or addictions may produce fruit that your body, that your spirit may possess because of the fruit that is eaten. It may possess because of the spiritual DNA. What channels exist will be, has been, or will be beneficial or detrimental based on what one possesses inside their spirit. So that it is not what that we are allowing to exist that benefits us. It is what we possess inside of us that benefits us. And we need to understand that we need to keep what exists in our lives in its lane. And we need to tell what exists. We need to tell it, hey, you are here to help me produce good. You are here to help me produce good. You are here to help me produce patience and kindness and love and joy and self-control. At the end of the day, you are to channel what I possess, what my spirit is, what my spiritual DNA is. the entirety of my spirit has to be projected or manifested through the channel of what exists. Along with your relationship with God, you know, what exists in your life are channels. Does that make sense? So I want you to, over the next week, I want you all to think, what is it in my life? And everything that's in my life that exists, what am I putting into it? And what is it helping me produce? So if I utilize things that are in my life, what fruit will it produce? What harvest will it produce? And if there's some kind of discrepancy on what the reality of what it's producing compared to what I would like for it to produce, then I must assess myself, because it all starts with me. And once I assess myself and I find what is more detrimental than beneficial, then I have to put in the work. I'm here to tell you all, putting in the work is not the sole purpose of putting in the work is not for us to feel uncomfortable. It's for us to be knowledgeable and learn and sharpen us. So we need to get out of this whole mindset that now I got to put in the work. Now I'm going to be uncomfortable. Yes, there are going to be uncomfortable moments. But best believe, you would think me and all these other people that emphasize putting in the work, you're going to thank us later. You're going to thank us later. Right? So just over the next week, just really focus on what you have going on inside of you, what your spirit is feeding off of, what that spiritual DNA is looking like. All right? What the spirit is putting into what exists. And if someone was to look at you and look at what in you that is existing, what are you allowing to exist in your life, what fruit it's producing, what harvest it's producing, you will want to hope that they're seeing the good and seeing nothing bad. And if you see something that is bad, just go through the process of beginning to fix it, right? That's all. I am so glad that each and every one of y'all have taken the time to get this food in ya, to get your bellies full. I am so glad that each and every one of you are making an effort to make your lives better and to tap into your true life. So as we depart, I would also like to say one more thing. Y'all got to remember to speak things into existence and declare it and walk within it, or walk in it as if though it's already there. That's how things are going to manifest, right? But part of manifestation, if part of something manifesting itself, also depends on what you possess. Ooh. Now you still got work to do. Now you still got work to do. All right. All right. All right. Y'all see how that's connecting? Y'all see how that's connecting? We are in the season of acknowledging, um, acknowledging, putting in the work. We got to put in that work. We got to put in that work. Acknowledging, putting in the work, and I totally forgot the third one. But we are in that, and holding ourselves accountable. That's the third one. We are in the season of accountability, acknowledgement, and putting in the work. We are now, our options of avoiding that is rapidly decreasing. We're going to get to a point to where we have no other choice but to acknowledge, but to hold ourselves accountable, but to do the work. We're getting to that point, and it is better to start now. So when that point comes, you've already done it. You ain't got to worry about it affecting you. Right? So may the peace and love and kindness, may those 9 fruit fall on you all, in you all, and all around and through you all. As we depart, may God protect each and every one of you. As we depart, may peace and prosperity follow you throughout the week. As we depart, may no negativity affect your journey and your process and tapping in to your greatness, to your power, and to the life God gave you. Okay? Until next time, continue to be great. Have a good night, you all. See you next week.